all have our own personal prisons, don't we? Guilt and shame can be overwhelming, making us feel like we're stuck in a never-ending cycle of self-blame and regret. Addictions can control our lives, dictating our every move and decision. And then there's sin, the ultimate prison that keeps us separated from God. We might feel like we're trapped, with no way out. But the good news is that there is hope. Guilt, shame, addiction, and sin, these are all weights that we carry, and they're all prisons that we need to be freed from. But how do we break free? Is it even possible? These questions haunt us, and the answers seem elusive. But what if I told you that there's a way out? What if I told you that someone has already walked the path to freedom, and has paved the way for us to follow? We all have our own stories of struggle and pain, but the truth is that we're not alone. There are millions of people around the world who are trapped in their own prisons, searching for a way out. And that's exactly what Jesus Christ's sacrifice offers, a way out. But to understand the significance of his death, we need to delve deeper into the biblical context. In the book of John, chapter 10, verse 10, Jesus says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full." This verse is so powerful because it highlights Jesus' purpose, to give us life, and to give it to us in abundance. But what does that mean, exactly? It means that Jesus came to set us free from the prisons that hold us captive. In the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 1, Paul writes, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm, then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery." This verse is so liberating because it reminds us that we're not meant to be slaves to our past, to our fears, or to our doubts. We're meant to be free, to stand firm in our faith, and to live lives that are full of purpose and direction. The book of Isaiah, chapter 53, is another powerful illustration of Jesus' sacrifice. Verse 5 says, "But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by whose wounds we are healed." This verse is so graphic because it reminds us of the brutal reality of Jesus' death. He was pierced, crushed, and punished, all for our sake. In the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 1, Paul writes, "Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." This verse is so revolutionary because it reminds us that, as believers, we're no longer condemned. We're no longer trapped in our prisons. We're free, because Jesus has set us free. The moment of transformation happens when we realize that Jesus' sacrifice is not just a historical event, but a personal gift to each and every one of us. It's the moment when we understand that his death has power to set us free from our own prisons, and to give us new life. It's the moment when we step out of our shame, our guilt, our addictions, and our sin, and into the freedom that Jesus offers. This freedom is not just a feeling, it's a reality. It's a reality that transforms our lives, our relationships, and our understanding of ourselves and of God. It's a reality that sets us free to live lives that are authentic, purposeful, and meaningful. And it's a reality that's available to each and every one of us, no matter what our past looks like. Spiritual freedom is something that many of us crave, but don't know how to achieve. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages telling us we're not good enough, that we're stuck in our circumstances, and that there's no way out. But I want to tell you that there is hope, and that hope is found in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Many of us find ourselves trapped in our own personal prisons, and we don't even realize it. We're held captive by guilt, shame, and addiction, and we don't know how to break free. We're stuck in a cycle of sin, and we don't know how to escape. We're haunted by our past mistakes, and we don't know how to move on. We're stuck in a rut, feeling like we're never good enough, and that we're constantly falling short. We're trapped in a prison of our own making, and we don't know how to find the key to unlock the door and set ourselves free. We're living in a world that tells us that we have to earn our freedom, that we have to work hard to be good enough, and that we have to deserve it. But that's not the truth. The truth is that freedom is a gift, and it's been given to us through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. The Bible tells us that Jesus came to set the captives free, to break the chains that bind us, and to give us new life. In John 10:10, Jesus says, "I have come that they may have life, and have it to the full." He didn't come to just give us a little bit of freedom, but to give us a life of abundance, a life of freedom from the things that hold us back. In Romans 5:8, we're told that God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He didn't wait for us to get our lives together. He didn't wait for us to be good enough. He died for us while we were still stuck in our sin. He died for us, and in doing so, he gave us the gift of freedom. He gave us the key to unlock the door to our prison, and to walk out into a life of freedom and abundance. When we accept Jesus' sacrifice, and we allow him to come into our lives, we're given a new identity. We're no longer slaves to our past, we're no longer trapped by our addiction, we're no longer held captive by our guilt and shame. We're free, and we're given a new purpose. We're free to live the life that God intended for us, a life of freedom, a life of abundance, a life of purpose. We're free to be who God created us to be, and to live the life that he has called us to live. So let's summarize what we've talked about today. Jesus Christ's death is a gift of freedom, a gift that sets us free from the things that hold us back. It's a gift that gives us new life and a new purpose. Thanks for watching, and I encourage you to reflect on your own life and the prisons that you may be stuck in. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to check out our next video on the theme of faith and freedom.